Hi there, this is Craig Hain. My students sometimes call me Dr. Dell. And as you can see, we're sitting out here where I often do my work. I'm in a gazebo in the middle of the woods, and this is where I live. Well, actually I live in a house near here, but in the woods. Actually, what I want to talk to today are young students that are just getting started in their career, and they're kind of curious about mathematics and should they take it and what's it good for and why do I have trouble with it or what's it all about. And let me tell you this, mathematics is one of those things that's sort of the basis of many things that you might become interested in your life. All sorts of any kind of science or engineering or modern technology will involve some mathematics. But beyond that, if you just want to be a landscaper or a plumber or an architect or any number of things, in fact, you could make a long list of things, mathematics is something you're going to really use a lot of. Now, math really is about two fundamental things. It's about numbers, which could be used to count things or to measure things, and it's about geometric objects, what's called geometry. And these would be things like triangles or circles or any other kind of a thing that you can draw that's geometric in nature. Now, most of the things that you do in everyday math, in practical math, in industrial math, involves both geometry and numbers. You want to know how something is measures, how long it measures, or what is the area of something, or the volume of something, things like that. And so that's what math is really about, and that's certainly how you should begin your studies of math, and that's what we recommend that you do and what we do cover in what we call our Practical Math Foundation course. Now, what happens is once you start combining geometry and numbers together, you need more tools to be able to solve the problems and answer the questions that come up. And one of those tools is another mathematics subject called algebra. Now, really, algebra is very easy if you approach it properly. It really is just trying to figure out things you don't know from things that you do know. And so you'll designate an unknown number like the length of something by a letter, say x, and then you will take things that you do know, and from that you try to figure out what would x actually equal. And it's not very hard to do. And in fact, in our Practical Math Foundation, we start off very early and teach you some basic algebra that you need for practical math. And then we start applying it to solving problems with geometry and things that you want to do. So that's really what math is all about. Math can be taught at a lot of different levels and approached at a lot of different levels. And it's my belief that you should start at a really basic, intuitive level and solve practical problems, and that's what we emphasize in the Practical Math course. Now, in traditional math, the way it's normally taught today in most middle and high school curricula, there's a lot more put into math than what you would need for practical math. And sometimes it gets quite difficult and hard to understand, and particularly if it's presented too early. So you've got to be a little careful of that. What I obviously encourage people to do is to take the practical math course first. In that class, we cover a little pre-algebra to make sure you're ready for it, and then we do some algebra, we do some geometry, and then we do some what's called trigonometry, which is actually solving certain problems about triangles that you can't do with just algebra and geometry. You need a little bit more than that. We also teach you how to use what I call the basic power tool of practical math, which is a calculator, a scientific calculator. And we talk a lot about that in our website. And I also talk a lot about that in the book that I've written on teaching math, and there's a lot of other information on it. Now, the practical math you can learn, most people of all ages learn it in about, 50 to 60 hours of their time. It's self-paced, it's videos, it's not very difficult, it's a lot of fun actually for most people. If you say, well, I know practical math, I want to know more about the more standard math, then I'm going to recommend a book to you, and I talk about this on our website. And this is by a great teacher by the name of Dr. George Simmons, and it's called Pre-Calculus Mathematics in a Nutshell. And it again covers algebra and geometry and trigonometry, but at a deeper level now. It goes a little bit more into the theory of it, and it's a great way to approach math if you're going to become an engineer or a scientist. And you can buy this book on Amazon for probably less than $20, and it is a great resource for you. Now, I will say it's probably not too easy for many students to study on a self-study basis. You'll probably need someone to help you with it, and indeed that's what we do in Tier 3 and Tier 4. I actually go over the topics in this book and use this as, I guess you could call it the textbook, in some detail. But what I do want to tell you is this. Math is really not difficult if you approach it properly. I've never found really any student that couldn't learn math when it was presented in an appropriate manner, when it's self-paced and when it's presented in the right order of content. So don't be afraid of math. If you've had a bad experience with it, don't let that turn you off. Go ahead and come back and try again, and don't give up on it. And what you'll find is if you begin to do math and do the problems and practice with math, it'll become a lot more fun for you, and it'll become very, very useful. Today in this world, there are literally hundreds of thousands of jobs that are going unfilled because they can't find people that have the right background, that adequate background. And one of the things they need is they need basic mathematics for that. So that's hopefully will help you understand what it's about and get you started. And I hope that you get yourself started in math because it could have a great, profound impact on your life. It's Dr. Dell. Talk to you on another video.